Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to share with you guys 5 tips for planning in 2020. As some of you may know, I launched my planner line this year. This is the stripes cover, and then I also have the dots cover. It's a daily planner, so it's a little bit thicker. So what I want to do is go through the planner and then also my notepad that I came out with, the priorities, needs, and wants, and show you kind of how I use that and how you might want to implement it with your planner if you have the Fit Home and Health Planner collection, or if you have just a regular planner that you prefer. These tips are going to work with anything that you use. If you don't have the priorities, needs, and wants notepad, you don't have to have a special notepad. I just like it because I'm like a paper lover, so I wanted to create one. You can use the back of a receipt, an envelope, anything like that. It's going to get the job done. So, okay, so with your planner, the first thing you want to do is, if you are a paper planner big time, and this is basically like your Bible, something I always recommend to people is in the front of a planner. And to be truthful with you guys, I haven't filled out my 2020 planner yet. It's the end of December, but I have been so busy I haven't sat down to really take my time on it, because I always feel like it's like a holy ceremony to me. I want to sit down, have like music on, and be like totally calm and like not stressed about what's next or anything like that. So I'm kind of waiting for that moment here over the holidays to do that. So on the opener of a page, or I'm sorry, the opening of your planner, most planners will always have like who the planner belongs to. So on this page, I do recommend writing down your name, phone number, email, and also reward if found. You can put how much of a reward or just reward if found. I know that may sound a little extreme, but for me, if I lost my planner, I would truly be lost, because I put a certain amount of things in my phone calendar, but a lot of the things I just keep it all in my paper planner. So for me, having a reward on it is important, because then, I mean, if people find a planner and you're going to give them a little something to return it, they're more likely to return it. And then also with, well, my planner specifically, you have the welcome letter and then the priorities, needs, and wants, which explains how I use this notepad, but I'm going to go through that with you guys here on this video in case you don't have my planner. And then you have your overview and everything like that. So something that I like to do whenever I get my planner, go through the holidays that are gonna actually matter, the ones that aren't like Christmas that you know is the same time every year and things like that, like Easter, all that kind of stuff. If your planner does not have them already marked, make sure you go through and mark them, because in the future, as you're planning things, you wanna make sure you don't piggyback too close to that holiday, that maybe if you travel for Easter or things like that, you're not piggybacking on that holiday. So as I work through my year, something I like to do in the very beginning of the year is write down my goals for 2020. I know that's so overused right now and it's almost like a cliche, but write down your goals, not like I'm gonna get this degree and I'm gonna do this, like things that you will do within that year. A degree might take you 2 years. You can work towards that, things like that. But if it's something that you wanna do, if it's gonna be you're launching your new website or your new business, or you're building a brand, things like that, those are things you want to work on, because you want to keep those big goals in mind, and then you can break those down on a micro level each week to achieve them. So it might be something like, I'm launching a new product in 2020. So that will be my large goal. Well, then I'm going to break that goal down throughout the year to make sure that I achieve that by the due date. Let's say I want to have it done by July. I'm going to work backwards on that goal. Like I want to launch it July 1st. And then I'll write down each week, or maybe each month, or every couple weeks, however much time is required, what I need to do in those time frames to goal set backwards, as I've shared before on previous webinars and things like that. So you want to make your master list for the year of what you want to achieve, and then also you're going to work that on a weekly basis. So the way I do that is with my priorities, needs, and wants list. And this is explained in the front of my planner, but if you don't have it, again, I'm not in here to sell you anything. I just want to share this with you. So with your priorities, needs, and wants, this is a 60-sheet paper, so you have like one for every week. You'll write down everything you have to do that week that's a priority to you. So whether that be something like, securing your domain if you're launching a new business, or it's something like, like just returning certain emails and making sure that you touch base or like close out the deal for something. Whatever your priorities may be, it might be making sure you get all your holiday shopping done, or making sure that you return papers back to your kids' school. Anything it might be. You put that for your week for the priorities. If it's a need, that's something you need to do that does need to get done that week, but necessarily isn't a 100% priority to you. So it might be you need to pick up the dry cleaners, or you need to call to have your roof looked at, or you need to you need to call and find somebody that can come pick up trash for you, or anything like that. Obviously, I'm trying to pull these out of the air and make things up as I go along. But so write down your needs here. And then your wants are things that if you have time in your week, you'll be able to get to them. So something you want to do might be going to get a pedicure. Well, you might not have time that week to get it. It's not anything that's super pressing, so you can wait till the next week if needed. So then what I do every week after I make this list, I sit down on Sundays, and that's another tip for you guys. So number 1 is make your lists. Number 2 is to designate 15 to 20 minutes of your time every week. I find that's a really good time frame because it's not totally unachievable because it is a smaller block, but yet it's enough time to sit and actually calmly think through your week, and you're not just flying by the seat of your pants, writing and scribbling in your planner. And it's not just for the aesthetic purpose in the planner, it's to really understand what you're going to be doing that week and like put that time block together in your week. So what I do then after I fill out what I need to do that week, I'll go through my planner and I will start on Sunday. Like I said, I do all this on Sunday night is when I choose to. You can do it on any night of the week. It does not matter, whatever you feel like suits you best. I write down everything that I need to get done that week. I go into my planner. I'm going to start on a Monday here because that started January 1, which I think is on a Thursday or Wednesday. So here's Monday, January 6th. What I would go through is what were my priorities that I set for myself on Sunday? Let's say that I needed to buy a domain or I need to start a website. I would go through and write that down on one of my days of what I needed to do that day. You can do it on a specific time. Like my planner is specifically done from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. So it's got your time frame categories there. If yours is like a time block where it's just the day, you can start to write in what time you need to get it done, I'm sorry. Or if it's something where you just have to get it done sometime that day, you can just write it in the day over here on like your top 5 priorities, whatever you prefer to do. Everybody's got their own little style. So what I'm sharing with you is not end all be all, this is the only way to plan. It's just a method that I've found through the years that works for me really well to stay efficient and most importantly, stay productive in what I'm doing. So on that Monday, I would write down that I needed to, launch or start building my website. So that would be a priority. I would go through my priority list, everything that I have written down, and go through my entire week and plug in those priorities where I see fit or what's going to work that week. So then next I would go through and what are my needs that week? What do I need to get done? Then I would go through and see like, you know what, I got too many priorities on Monday. Oh, you know what, there's a little time for that on Tuesday. So I'll write one of my needs in on Tuesday and then kind of go through and see where I have time to plug in those needs. Then lastly, I would go through my wants list and see, like I mentioned, the example of a pedicure. Well, you know what, maybe this week is a little bit too busy and I can't go to do that. So I would just keep that on my list and I would just transfer it to next week's list for my wants. Now, the thing is with the priorities, needs, and wants, you don't want to transfer your priorities over. You should only ever be transferring your wants and your needs over to the next week. Your priorities should be done every single week. You should never have those repeated because the thing is, otherwise you'll get into this really bad habit of, I don't want to do it this week or I don't have time, I'll just do it next week. It's not a priority. That's not the definition of a priority when you're able to keep rolling it over and not getting it done. So that every single week, it should be your goal to achieve every single one of your priorities. Now in my planner, I have a top 5, and that is a top 5 priorities for the day, the way this is laid out. Or you can choose it for the week, however you choose to do this. So my top 5 are the 5 most important things I have to get done that day to stay productive and efficient with my business and in my life. So that could be something like returning my emails. It could be make sure I go to the gym, making sure that I meal prep. Anything like that along those lines are what I like to do for my planning that week in my designated time frame of that 15 to 20 minutes on a Sunday night to do that. So with my planner, the layout is, some of you guys have this, the planner already, but I have the day, a top 5, a notes section. And what I use the notes section for is for anything like if I talk to a certain person on the phone, or if I need to contact a certain person or call them, any of the little oddball things that I can even do when I'm like driving in the car, just make, follow up with phone calls. I have a fitness area. You can track your water, your weights, cardio, weigh-in, all that kind of jazz. And then also a meal section. You can use the meal section as writing down what you ate or what you plan to eat. I really designed it mainly for like meal planning for dinner, especially for us, because I like to go through and write down what we're gonna have every night for dinner. Because also on Sunday nights, I use the app Shipt. I've talked about it for years. I've used it for years. It's a grocery service app. So think of it like Uber for groceries. And I go through and I write down my whole list of food that are meals that we're gonna have that week, and then I can go through and order groceries for every single meal. So that way it really minimizes the time of going back and forth to the grocery store or what do you want for dinner? I don't know, what do you want? And then you end up ordering something, that's maybe off of your plan or maybe what you don't really want, and things that don't really align with your goals. So it's really, that's why I designed it with the meal portions, not necessarily to log my food, but mainly plan out what I was going to be eating for dinner that week to help me with my shopping. So, okay, so first tip was make the list. Second is designate your time. Third tip is going to be leave wiggle room. People think that a super full planner and writing on every line means you're productive and efficient. That's absolutely nonsense, and I can attest to this. All that means is you're just going to go freaking crazy that whole day because it is chaos. So when I say leave wiggle room, that means leave extra time if your appointment runs late. Leave a little extra time for driving, things like that. Don't book yourself at 1 o'clock I'm doing this, 2 o'clock I'm doing this. That's not real life, and that's not actually something you can achieve every single day. So it might be something where I have my photographer come over 11 to 4 on Wednesdays. Well, I won't really plan anything in the mornings before she gets here because I'm busy trying to wrap up a little bit of office work and things like that, getting ready for her to be here. Well, then when she leaves at 4 each day, I don't book something at 4 or like right after that because her and I might, for instance, last week we worked about 20 minutes later than that. Like you have to like make sure you account for those overages like that. Or what if you get stuck in traffic going to an appointment? Plus, if you allow yourself a little bit of wiggle room, it's so nice because you have a breather in your day and you can actually be more accomplished because you're not so running around like ragged all day, because nobody likes to meet with someone. Like, let's say you have a meeting, you're rushing back and forth when they're sliding in sideways into the restaurant or the coffee shop or whatever it is, and they're like, and they're all like flustered and they're trying to get their life together, in front of your eyes. So leave that wiggle room is definitely a tip that I had to learn the hard way, because I used to think that the more I had written down meant the more progress I was making, which was not the truth whatsoever. Fourth tip is don't overcomplicate it. You will see, I used to do this as well. I'm telling you guys everything that, like all the mistakes I made that really overcomplicated it, that made me almost like have like analysis by paralysis. There were so many things to do that I didn't want to do any of it, or I would just want my planner to look pretty, not necessarily effective and like in a way that I could use it in a productive way. So don't overcomplicate it. You don't need stickers and washi and glitter and all this time, unless that is something you enjoy during your planning process. I used to enjoy doing the washi tape and stickers like years ago, because it was almost like I looked forward to planning because I like to make it look nice, because if I made it look nice, it made me enjoy looking at my planner more. And so I've gotten out of that because I realized I was overcomplicating it, because I would literally be so hard on myself, like I didn't have time to do my page to make it look pretty or something, or for my week. And I spent too much time and too much money in those kind of things. So don't overcomplicate it. As long as you're getting from point A to point B where you need to be and on time, and you're achieving your goals along the way, that's all you need to do. And it's something, if you're not even a paper planner person, you just need a notebook maybe, that works too. And then the fifth tip is, you need to make sure that you're doing tasks every single day or week that are going to reach your goals. Step one was, making that master list for the year of what you needed to get done, what you needed to do. You have to make sure that you're taking action on that, because, otherwise it gets halfway through the year and you're like, man, why didn't I do that? I should have started earlier. I could have been done already. So it's being effective in your planning to where you're achieving that. So like I mentioned, like you're launching a business or starting a new website, or it might be like you want to become a blogger, anything like that. Make sure that, every week, that if you work a full-time job now, you may not have time every single day to work on it, but at least every week, make sure you're getting 1 to 2 tasks done towards your goal. And it could be like securing the domain for your new blog, and then deciding your color palette for that blog. 1 or 2 of those little things adds up greatly. Just think about that. If you do 1 or 2, just 1 a week, that's 52 tasks you got done that year towards your goals, and you'll be able to reach your goals much faster. So make sure that you're assigning tasks every day or every week to that, and that would be something you put in your top 5 of what you want to do, because we all know we set a lot of goals in the beginning of the year, and it's like a lot of things where you go in hot and you're all excited, and then you kind of taper off. The thing is that when you do it just a little bit at a time, that like the saying, like, how do you eat an elephant? It's 1 bite at a time. Exact same thing. Like, make sure that you keep your master list for your goals at your, in your line of vision, whether it's like a vision board, or if you just have the one piece of paper that you look at every single week to make sure you're working towards those goals, to put in your planner and achieve that. So like I said, it's not complicated. It's something that is very easy to manage, and just make sure you give yourself time and make sure you enjoy it, because it really is nice to be able to look at things. And I'm a big person, like I love to cross things off my list, but it's nice to look at it and be like, okay, I've got 4 appointments or meetings that day, but then I've got, my top 5 over here, which is, working out, whatever it might be. And then, you can plug those times in if you like to do the time block thing. So, I have time between 12 and 1:30, I can go work out then. You know, you just kind of like work your top 5 priorities into your day, or it might be something you have to do after your kids go to bed, or like get up a little bit earlier in the morning to do that, which is going to take a little bit of time to get used to the habit, but you wake up and you feel so much sense of accomplishment, partly through the day because you know you're already like, you've already tackled a lot of major things on your list. So that's really it, guys. I mean, like I said, it's not super complicated. I just want you guys to kind of have a game plan going in and use those 5 tips that I've shared to help you guys stay organized, feel like you're at a good place, because I know for me, if I'm organized, I know things are in a place, I don't have to worry about remembering them anymore. I don't have to be stressed about it. All I have to do is look at it, see what I'm doing that day. I look at the next day and have a game plan. Something I will mention, that when you have a daily calendar or any sort of planner in general, is if you have something that's, let's say you have to have it done on Friday, write yourself a reminder. Let's say, for instance, today I was going to shoot a recipe and it's something that's going to have to sit overnight. So therefore, I would write it on yesterday's schedule to make this recipe to shoot on a Wednesday. So that's something you really need to make sure that you do in order. I'm sorry, guys, my timer's going off. So sorry. So that's something you need to make sure that you do too, is like plan ahead too. That's like another thing, kind of like a goal set backwards. But if it's something that's going to take a little bit more time or effort, make sure you add yourself a little day or 2-day cushion so that day doesn't sneak up on you. You're like, oh my gosh, I should have done this and I forgot to do that. So just, you know, if you do plan something like that, like if you're going to make an overnight recipe, or you're going to be leaving on Friday morning for packing, obviously you're going to want to make sure that you're packing on maybe starting Wednesday night to give yourself a little heads up, things like that. So if you guys have any questions at all, please just leave it in the comments below. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I'm going to start doing a lot more here in 2020 on YouTube, and I cannot wait to share with you guys. I'm so excited. We've been working on a project and I cannot wait to share, and you guys are going to love it, I feel. And then if there's anything else you guys need, follow me on Instagram at Emily for Sale. You can knock on my DM doorstep there. Don't be sliding in, just knock on the door and ask me any sort of planning question you have. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. Have a great 2020.